Studiospares Lockdown Cast, in which we talk to professionals in different parts of the music and audio industries about the effects of the virus and lockdown. And importantly, we also take a look into the future and think about post-lockdown and what it means to musicians, voiceover artists, agencies, venues, and other parts of the industry. In this episode, I am so pleased to have the one and only Ray Biggin with us. Now, Pete's drumming credits are endless, and they include artists such as Amy Winehouse, Mark Ronson, Incognito, the amazing Chaka Khan, Adele, Joss Stone, Jessie J, Robbie Williams, Whitney Houston, and he's now holding down the groove for Level 42. And beyond the tour bus, Pete is also the man behind the new Track 23 studios in Watford, as well as most recently launching his drum academy. Pete, hello, mate. How are you?
Yo, how's it going, Dave?
It's all good. It's all good. I just have to say, I have to just tell people, the first time we met, you were actually at Studiospares on the shop floor, weren't you? And I came out covered in cables and coils, and I just sort of said, "Hey, how are you, Pete Ray Biggin?" And you looked really shocked when I said it.
I was just hoping you would have said it before I paid. That was all.
Actually,
no, it was great, man.
Listen, the first time I saw you play was with Incognito, and I'm a massive fan of Incognito anyway. And I remember thinking, watching you, that this guy's a real groover. I mean, like proper groove. So would you say it's that groovability that you have that's allowed you to play with so many great names?
Yeah, I would say groove is what gets you the gigs, mate. Yeah, it took me a long time to learn that, but I think, yeah, the groove is the most important thing in my life as a drummer. Getting them sort of gigs. I mean, how else? Like, you know, it's the drums is what's got to make it all feel right for everything to sit on top. So I guess, you know, the groove is the most important thing. Groove pays bills, man. Groove pays bills.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So who was the first like major artist that you played with?
Well, I mean, like, I mean, going back to day one, you know, I was brought up in Sheffield, you know, and I was gigging by the time I was 13 with club bands around South Yorkshire. And by the time I was like, I don't know, 16, 17, I was sort of like playing with this guy called Jimmy James and the Vagabonds, and we were doing all the Butlins camps.
Wow.
And that's, you know, yeah, traveling in the back of a tranny van and all that. It was great. And then when I was about 20, I moved to London and I joined this band called Rain. It was like an original band, and we just used to hang around London, do all these sort of little gigs. And then in that time, you know, I met Amy. She was coming to our gigs, and it was just like one of my first big gigs was definitely, it was Amy. It was like my first gig. My first big gig was the CD UK mime for Amy Winehouse. Oh, right. And I got my parents calling me, "You've made it." I'm like, "Oh, I've just done a mime," but you know. But then the tour came, and then that was it. And then I was sort of in doing the session drumming properly with Amy, and then that went on to Ronson, and then that went on to Igcog, and then we went to Chaka, and blah blah blah, and just kept rolling on from there, mate. You know. And now I've got all the grey hairs to show for it. You know.
So. I know you've also always been a Level 42 fan as well, which you told me before. Amazing, yeah. So it must have been so amazing when you were asked to join the band. How did it come about? You know, how did that happen?
Oh man, I mean, well, firstly, I mean, when I was growing up, like Level 42 as a kid was my favorite band to practice to every day, you know. And then I discovered Incognito and like other bands like Average White Band, and you know, and I was quite late picking up on Stevie Wonder and Earth, Wind, Fire and these guys, Tower of Power, when I was about 15. So I just knew funk was my thing. So then obviously when I was sort of coming to the end of the Ronson stuff, you know, I had MySpace at the time, and I got a message off Bluey, and I'd met Bluey like 6-7 years before that, and he said, "Oh, yo, do you want to come fill for Richard?" You know, and I was just like, "Of course I do, man. I know, I love the stuff." So then that came with the Igcog stuff, and within like about 2 years, then I think I've been out there doing the funk thing with Incog, and my name got around because Gary couldn't do one of the tours with Level 42, and then Mark King called me one day. He was actually hooked up through another friend, a keyboard player in London. He called me and said, would you be up for doing Level 42? And I'm like, yes! You know, sort of thing.
Who wouldn't be?
And then, yeah, and then obviously, like, one morning, 9 a.m., I get a phone call, like, you know, like, it's sort of like early November, it's freezing, you know, it's one of them crappy mornings, and the phone calls, and hello, he's like, hey, is that Pete? This is Mark King. And I'm just like, who? You know, like, so, and I think one of my first things I said to him, because I was so shocked he called me, I said, man, what took you so long to call? You know, but the funny thing, the flip side to that, I remember when I was like 11 or 12 years old, my parents joined the fan club for Level 42 because I was such a fan. And they said, oh, they're coming to Sheffield, you know, in 1991, October, I remember it, guaranteed live. And my parents got me into the sound check, and I managed to play Gary Husband's kit. And Gary was like, you coming to the gig later, good luck, and all this sort of stuff. But anyway, I remember Mike ended up filming the sound check, and I was playing a bit of the kit, and I got scared and obviously when I come to first have a little jam with Level 42 years later, I said to Mike, do you remember 1991, you know, there was a little kid who played the drum kit, and he went, was that you? I said, yeah, man. He goes, I said, but you had the camera, you know, you filmed it, because I remember shitting myself, you know, and he was just like, oh shit, let me find this, I'll find it. Anyway, it took him 3 years to find the footage. He found it, put some music to it, edited it, sent me the video, and it's lovely, because you see, he films like the bus pulling up, and you see me as a little kid sort of looking at the bus and watching Gary get off the bus. And yeah, and I put it on YouTube, man, just to show kids, like, dreams can come true, man. You know, it's like that. It was a dream come true, and now, you know, you come back years later, and the band is, for me, the band, not I'm just saying this, but the band is the best it's ever sounded. It's like, you got the horns there now. Mark's got a new lease of life. He's jumping up and down. It's like Piccadilly Circus in front of my drum riser, man.
Does Mark encourage you to put your own
stamp
on everything?
Oh, he does, but I also take into consideration the respect of what Phil and Gary did on the parts, on the record. Yeah, certain fills, endings, you know, starts, you know, I try and keep them exactly the same. My theory is play your parts, but still put your own fingerprint on it, you know.
Well, listen, I'm still around for a dep if Mark needs me at any point, so no problem.
Yeah, I'll tell him.
how to empty an arena. Anyway, exactly. So talking of which, 2020 should have been the 40-year celebration tour for Level 42, which is the From Eternity to Here UK tour, wasn't it? That is due to kick off in Glasgow on the 7th of October. So
that's right.
What's the news? Have you been told anything? Is it still on the cards? Are people just not sure?
Don't know. Let's just fingers crossed. I mean, who knows, man? You know, this social distancing shit, man. I mean, the government could keep this going for a long time, you know. But I don't know. I mean, who knows, man? It's just such something we've all had in front of us for such a long time, which we never realized would get took straight beneath us. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, I'm like, I've been speaking to some musician friends today, and they're like, Pete, I know, like, I'm just missing, like, can we just get together for a play and we can stand 2 meters apart? I'm just like, man, this is so fucking, you know, like,
just doesn't work.
To say we had all the gigs and we was always out gigging, and we like, even like we moaned about, oh, got a wedding gig this weekend. Man, you wouldn't be moaning about it now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's something like that. It's gone for a bit, you know, but it'll come back. I know it'll come back.
Either way, I'm sure we'll see you out with the band soon, which would just be amazing, because I haven't seen you play with the band, and I will definitely come down and see you. I really, really would love to do that.
Well, you've never been to a Level gig?
Oh, I've been to a Level gig, but I just haven't seen you playing with Level. So,
oh, really? Oh, mate, yeah. I have to get you down to a gig then, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Maybe if I go down there with the sticks and play a bit, and, you know, I might get in the band for 20, 30 years.
You've been sat in that room too long, but you're in now, mate. That's why you got to get you out of there a bit.
Yeah, that would be great. But look, so I mean, one of the main reasons that we wanted to do this cast was just to get, you know, a bit of a feel for what different people have been doing during lockdown. And, you know, so for somebody like you, who is a gigging working musician who has been on tour as long as you can probably remember. And as you rightfully say, this, you know, the virus has just killed this completely on so many levels. And I mean, from pubs at weekend gigs right through to arena and stadium gigs, they're all stopped.
Yeah.
Nothing like this ever happened before. So what's this meant for you? What have you been doing during this time? Have you been practicing, or have you been sitting there watching Netflix?
I've just, I think I did a couple of weeks of just playing Grand Theft Auto, and then my missus was like, right, get to your studio and carry on building it.
Welcome to Track 23 Studios. This is a brand new creative hub just being built in Watford, North London. We've been developing this over the last year to share with you guys. We've got 14 production and full recording studio suites of all different sizes, meant for producers, musicians and creative types to work in a great workspace together. But before we get down to that, come and have a look. As well as the 14 studios, there will be a full kitchen, chill out area, toilets, shower, individual intercoms to each studio to let your visitors in, lots of parking, 24-hour access, storage, free Wi-Fi and internet, and also CCTV security for all your equipment. Yes! Welcome to my studio. This is my space getting built right now. And as you can see, we're going through some serious sound treatment in this room. It's going to sound amazing when it's done. And like I said, guys, I can't wait for this to be open to share with you guys. And we make some hits! As I said before, guys, we've got 14 rooms available with great facilities. Please go, check the website, check the floor plan. You'll get to see how it's all laid out, and also check the 3D renders of the room, because what you will see is what the rooms will look like when everything is finished. Okay, so availability is quite limited here at Track 23. Spaces are filling up quite quickly. So go to the website, register your interest, and we'll get straight back to you and get your room booked. Big shout out to Studiospares. I hope to see you soon.
So the last, since this lockdown happened, mate, I've just gone, ordered a load of more stuff. I've been putting a Rockwall in it. It's a floating floor. It's a room within a room. Yeah, it's a pretty big project. Doing the patch bay today, which is madness, and the wall plates, and talking about bantam or a normal jack. So yeah, it's all kicking off.
I know it's a blatant ad, but of course you've had some of that stuff from Studiospares as well, which is.
Oh yeah, man, you guys have been fantastic.
Tell us a bit about the drum academy that you put together as well. This is really interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, as well as when I was playing with Incognito and Level 42, I always knew I loved funk. So I started a funk band, my own band, PB Underground. We call it short P-Bug. And we're like sort of 10-piece original funk band from London. It's run by me. I use all the great singers in London. I've got a great horn section. All mates, man. We just love playing music. It's more like a kind of young Jamiroquai, Earth, Wind and Fire, Tower of Power vibing.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, it's just fantastic.
All that shit. Also the BVs as well. Great singers and shit, man. It's good. And we play, man. We've done some great gigs. We did a gig in Mexico last year. There was like 20,000 people on the beach. Sick, man. But anyway, I made the album. It was such a great album. I loved making it. It just gave me an idea. So what would it be like if I just took the drums off this album and then charted the drum music out? So I did it. I charted it out in three levels. So it was like beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And I did a book called the P-Bug drum book, drums at the front. So basically, you can hear my album without any of the drums, and you don't want my drums, you know what I mean? And now everyone's got a kind of recording facility. Most drummers it's not hard now to record. You go to Studiospares, you know what I mean? You buy some mics,
Yeah.
you buy your laptop, whatever, from wherever you need it. You get all your other stuff from Studiospares, and there you go. So now I made opportunities for young drummers to be able to put themselves into an album project, and then listen back to it and mix their drums and get it sounding good in a real album mix, you know. And, you know, you can get a kid at 5-year-old playing along to the dots for this. So anyway, I got the book, I made the book, that's done really well. And then it got me thinking, well, maybe I could design something where I can do it on my site. So now I've got this academy on my drums, on my PeteRayBiggin.com. And it's basically, it's my music from my album, minus the drums, with all the sheet music within. So basically, you can play this thing, you can slow the music down, and it also slows the dots. So if you're struggling playing the music at the tempo I'm playing it at and the thing, you can actually just slow this right down. It doesn't alter the pitch.
Worth pointing out that it's time stretched, so the keys and everything remain the same, but you just get to play whichever tempo.
Exactly. I mean, I was found out as hard as a kid to slow stuff down, we had to learn it the way it was, man. We didn't have these options, you know what I mean? And so firstly, if I could have been able to play along to albums like Level 42 or Incognito minus the drums and be able to record myself and slow it down and do all this sort of shit, I've designed that for my website, and it's powered by a website called Faster Hands. So that is my drum academy on PeteRayBiggin.com, and if any drummers want to go and check it, it's a great little learning thing. And also you can share your results with your mates on Facebook and all that sort of stuff, and kind of, you know,
very
quite
good.
Quick links.
And you get to play and you get to play with P-Bug, which is brilliant.
Yeah, you get to play with my band, man, which is a pretty sick band, you know.
So look, finally, I think this is more of a serious question, I suppose, that, you know, as we now look forward to lockdown being relaxed, and we're seeing signs of it. I mean, there's the argument whether we'll get a second peak or not, but, you know,
of course it is.
Industry's got to try and get back on track, and we've got to start trying to get the economy going again. And the music industry is such a big part of that, and it's part of our psyche in the UK. So, what effects do you think the events of the last few months have had on live music in pubs, you know, right through to stadiums, and what do you think the result is going to be looking forward?
Well, it's back to what we were just saying a minute ago. You know, it's just got tucked beneath your feet, and now we're all missing going to see live music, going for a quick pint, going for all this sort of stuff. So many businesses being knocked out by this. But I think what's going to happen is when it all comes by, everyone's going to appreciate it a lot more. People are going to be wanting to see more gigs, not sit at home. Do you know what I mean? Because they'll be bored shitless of doing this. It's like when it comes back, man, it's going to come back with a good bang. You know, we've just got to nip this shit in the bud now and just you know, and kind of pull together, mate. Do you know what I mean? And stop being selfish. And I mean, I don't want to be around anyone right now. I'd love to go and see my folks, or I'd love to come and see you, mate, have a pint. But we just got to stop being selfish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We got to wait.
You know, but I think once it comes back, man, I think it's going to come back good. And I think there'll be a lot more stuff happening next year, a lot more gigs, there'll be a lot more opportunities. Hopefully not too many music venues will have closed through this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think it's just the fear, isn't it? I mean, you know, obviously I'm still I'm not working, but I'm a gigging musician. And, you know, I go out with a couple of bands, and I know that some of them were, you know, so close to the edge anyway, and you do wonder if they're going to be able to make it through this period. And I know there are, you know, even there's a fairly major venue in Watford that, you know, they were struggling before. So hopefully, you know, they'll get through. And I think there's a sense, you know, of responsibility from musicians as well as, you know, the audience, or you know, gig goers, you know, to go in and help, and, you know, especially early on, just do what they can to help.
Yeah, I think we'll be gagging to get out there and play, mate. I think we'll all be going, come on, let's just play because we love this again, and then it'll bring that whole love back. You know, hopefully, of just playing together and guys playing together again. You know what I mean? And just
we're going to be talking.
Who knows, man.
we're going to be talking to a couple of venues within this series of casts, so hopefully we'll get their view as well and see what's going on. But listen, thank you so much for joining us, Pete. I really, really enjoyed it, mate.
Good, man.
Great to see you, especially we haven't seen each other for a little while, have we? So we will
have
that pint.
And we will get that pipe, mate. It might be in a year's time, but we'll get it.
Oh dear. We'll have to.
Oh, mate, you just come down to my house. You know where I live. I'll just go 2 meters apart. We'll have a little.
We'll find it, down Casbury Park. Yeah. But listen. Good luck to you and to Mark King and all the guys in Level 42. We hope to see you out there again very, very soon. And thanks a lot. See you soon, mate.
Thanks a lot, man.